Here's another important video from the Personal Defense Network. Okay, you guys are all familiar with the combat-focused shooting program in terms of the principles and fundamentals and drills that we use when it comes to pistol training. The same exact principles and fundamentals and many of the drills are going to apply to the combat-focused carbine program. All the combat-focused carbine program is taking those fundamentals that we already know about the way the body reacts naturally, the context of dynamic critical incident, and the methodology for developing skill that will help you to be more efficient in those situations and applying them to the mechanics of the long gun. The fact is that it's much easier to control deviation with the long gun. So you're going to find that the overwhelming majority of what you get out of this process is not going to be learning concepts, learning techniques, and really looking at things very differently, which may have been what happened when you first got introduced to the combat-focused shooting program with your pistol. It's really going to be about learning the mechanics of the gun in the context of a fight. The long guns are more complicated. To a certain extent, they're going to be less reliable because there's more things that can go wrong. They're not as simple as the basic semi-automatic pistol. This particular rifle, the M4, the AR, is what we're going to base the course around. That's what you guys are all using. Of course, we can apply these concepts in the same way to an AK-47, an M1 carbine, or MP5, any type of long gun, where we're going to integrate with the gun with 4 points of contact. And that's really the biggest difference between this and the pistol when it comes to deviation control, and it's a huge difference. We're going to start with the long gun in a compressed ready position as well. We call it the high compressed ready, A, because it's an easy terminology to use so that we're consistent. We always talk about the high compressed ready. And if people ask about what the high is actually going to be the back of the stock. That's what's high. It's high up on your body, it's high up on your torso so that it's in a position that is consistent with your shooting position. We're not talking about the muzzle. The muzzle is going to be low. All right, so if anybody were to mistake that terminology, if you start thinking about a high muzzle type carry position, that's not what we're talking about. The high compressed ready for us when it comes to the long gun is going to be high up on the body with the stock. At this point, I have 3 of my 4 points of contact in place exactly as they will be when I shoot. I have my control hand, I have my support hand, and I have the back of the stock up on my chest. This is 3 of the 4 points. Now, the placement of the support hand is actually something that's been going through a lot of changes for different people over the years. We talk about being up here on the fore end as the standard placement for that, just kind of wrapping around like we would a hunting rifle. Many people over the last 10 to 15 years have taken to putting their hand on the mag well. Now, particularly on the AR, it's important that you're actually on the magazine well and not on the magazine itself. That magazine needs to be free floating in order to function properly. It has a little bit of play in there. That's by design. So we're actually going to be holding the magazine well, and that a lot of people like because it allows you to pull the gun in, much like a Weaver shooting position allows you to pull the gun in when you're shooting target pistol. Well, we know that target pistol shooting, that works just fine. Defensive shooting, we want to be more extended. And what not only the competition shooters, but some of the more advanced training that goes on in some of the military and tactical fields as well, has shown us that that exact same concept of full extension, controlling as far out from our body as we can and getting our weight behind the gun will really help us to maximize our recoil management on the long gun. So we end up in a position where now what you see a lot of people doing is extending this hand out as far as possible out to the front of the gun, out by the front side of the gas block. Of course, this is a relatively short forend, so I'm going to be here. I'm still not at full extension. If I was using a 20-inch gun, I might be out at full extension. That allows a lot of control over the end of the gun and a lot of management of recoil. So regardless of what your preference is, your support hand is going to be that 3rd point of contact. The 4th point of contact is your cheek, getting that good consistent cheek weld. So when I'm here in my high compressed ready position with a long gun, my next move is going to be to raise the gun up and then touch and press. Now you heard as I raised the gun up, I put the safety off. Just like with a 1911, as I extend the gun out, I would take the safety off. To come back in, I take the safety up. So again, always going to be consistent whenever possible to increase our efficiency. So our actions with the long gun start from the high compressed ready into raise, touch, press. Come back down, we'll assess, and of course we're going to start integrating lateral movement and everything else that we normally integrate when it comes to the context of a dynamic critical incident. The combat-focused carbine program is designed to help you become more efficient with a carbine in the context of a dynamic critical incident. Okay, sound familiar, right? Exactly the same thing we talk about with combat-focused shooting. Check out more videos just like this one at the Personal Defense Network.